Hello, for those of you who do not know me, I am Selector Lady Lawyer. I'm one of the DJs on Lovers Rock Radio and Gold Standard Radio. On Gold Standard Radio, I'm on Saturdays, 7 till 9, and what I tend to do is play promotional releases, new releases, or recent releases that distributors send to me, and I also play reggae mostly of non English artists. And so you might not be able to understand what they're saying, but you definitely understand the vibe. And it's the vibe that I relate to. So I thought that what I would do is, in this capacity of encouraging international artists on our radio station, whether it's to promote their music or for international DJs. I thought what I would do is start a channel whereby I can kind of inform artists about the travel implications to the UN, to the UK, and also any visa issues and updates and stuff like that. I tend to go surging for really fast ahead. I start off by doing quite a few videos, and then as time passes, I kind of slow down. So while I've got the impetus, I will put up videos that I think are useful for recording artists who may be thinking about coming to the UK and how easy or how difficult that might be. Now, they have something called the points based system in the UK. Ordinarily, you would think that if to go to a country, all you've got to do is buy a ticket, okay, and you get you get a stamp in your passport and you're through. Times have changed, and there is so much more scrutiny, especially with the increase of terrorism attacks and drug drugs coming into the country. Different countries have a different criteria for allowing people to come in. UK is no different. UK is quite stringent because a lot of people want to come to the UK, and for some reason or another they get so immersed in the culture they don't want to go back. And so now the government has made it really, really difficult for anybody who doesn't have a genuine interest in entering the country to come into the country. And they have, you can come in on like a standard visa. If you're a recording artist, you can come in on a standard visa, you can come in on a creative visa, you can come in on a global talent visa, depending on who you are and how established you are and how accomplished you are. But regardless of the way you come in, there tends to be a certain criteria to kind of weed out all of those people who may not be of economic benefit to the UK. And one of those criteria is the points-based system. Now, with the points-based system, you need to have 70 points. And 70 points is kind of divided between how good your English is, your academic levels. It could be the type of job you're coming into, and if you're an artist, it probably could be how established you are as an artist and the type of venues you are going to be performing at. So it could have something to do with that because they're all kind of specific, and for each individual their circumstances will be different. So for each individual, one shoe doesn't fit all, and so you will need to speak to an immigration advisor. All I do is give you an overview of what you may or may not expect if you come to the UK. So with the points-based visa, like I said, there's a certain set of criteria that you have to fulfill. And financial, I think, depending, like I said, on your circumstances, they have a financial requirement. I'm not going to say what that is because if you're coming in as a recording artist, I'm not quite sure. You have to do a permitted paid engagement application anyway, because you'll actually be earning money. Um, if you're coming on a creative visa, it means that you have to perform for free. And, I think there are some other criterias. But if you are coming in as on a standard visa to visit the UK, and with the hope of, while you're here, establishing connections and hoping to perform, you would have to fulfill this points-based system criteria. And especially if you're coming here to work, I think even if you're just coming here, they expect a lot from you. They expect you to be able to finance the duration of your stay very, very easily. They'd expect you to have a contingency plan for your finances. So you can't say, oh, I'm going to come here for 2 weeks, therefore I'm going to need £50 a day, and therefore X amount at the end of the stay. They would want to know that you can afford hotels if you get booted out of wherever you're living. They'd like to know that you've got enough for food, you've made allowances for travel, you've made allowances for every possible scenario, so that they know that you're clued up, they know that you've planned well. So financially you're going to have to be quite fluid. Also, they need to know that you have no criminal past, of course. You've not spent time in jail. I mean, they do say more than 12 months, but to be honest, any time in jail, it could put an X against your application. I'm not saying it would, but it could. Because they're looking for people who are credible, who are honest, who have integrity. They're looking for good character to enter the country. And what a good character person would be is somebody who hasn't got into trouble. And the sad thing about this is that it doesn't really matter how you got into trouble or whether you were innocent or guilty. A lot of the cases, they just look at the jail term and they just look at the circumstances, and they haven't got the time or the resources to check things out. So the cleaner you are, the more likely it is you may be able to qualify for those 70 points. Your level of English. Sometimes, if you've got enough money, like they have something called the Golden Visa, I don't know if they still have it, where if you've got enough money, you bypass all of this. Because, like I said, they're looking for economic wealth coming into the country. So I used to wonder, how do these people get in and they can't even speak English? And it's because sometimes they are wealthy people and they can bring in their relatives because they are wealthy. And so you may find that people don't meet up to level B1 in the English criteria. But you're meant to be able to have a good level of English, good education. If you're being sponsored, the sponsor is licensed, and there's lots of other different criteria. For the points-based system. I just want to say quickly, your English level, how much you have and how much you can make, who is your sponsor, are they licensed, your level of education, your work experience, and if you have a job offer. And your equivalent would be a performance, I would think. And like I said, if you're coming in on the standard visitors visa, it does have a permitted paid engagement where you can actually apply within that application for your permitted paid engagement. But you are still going to have to really justify who you are. Are you credible? Are you stable? How you're not kind of scraping the barrel. You haven't borrowed money to come to the UK. You haven't borrowed from relatives. All of these things are going to go against you if you have, because what they're looking for is people who are independently financially stable, not people who are living off of someone else or people who have got here through other means. Because what that means is, if you cannot afford to come here, and once you're here, what are you going to do? Does that mean you're going to depend on the system? Does that mean you're going to try and evade the system? This is what people think when they see situations like that. So they're covering their back. Anyway, I think I've run out of time.